Good evening, everybody. So we welcome you again on English Without Borders webinars. So just to remind you, we'll be having every Thursday our English Without Borders webinars. So please do join. We'll be happy to see all of you. And today I'm very proud to present our today's speaker. So we have Mann. Yes, she will be talking about warm-up activities in large classrooms. And I would like to mention that Lisa did a great job as a teacher and is doing a great job. And she holds 2 master's degrees, one in teaching English to speakers of other languages, TESOL, and another in translation and localization. She has enjoyed a long career in the field of applied linguistics, and over the years, she has worked as an English language teacher, program director, teacher trainer, and translator in countries all over the world. So during her time in Peru, she worked with the Ministry of Education to develop the national curriculum for English for adult basic education under the country's English Gateway to the World initiative, and helped to create a cascading peer-to-peer teacher training program for English language teachers. On another side of the world, in Uzbekistan, she served as an instructor and interim academic coordinator for Webster University newly established MA TESOL program in Tashkent. She has worked as an English language specialist twice in Tajikistan to provide professional workshops to university and secondary school English language instructors. So she currently works as a training consultant, translator, and translation professor and editor in Spain. So welcome, Lisa. Now the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nasiba, and everyone at English Without Borders for welcoming me. As Nasiba said, I've been in Tajikistan a few times and in Uzbekistan, and Central Asia holds a special place in my heart, somewhere where I will always want to go to support English language teaching and English language learning as much as possible. And I wish this year that I could have been there in your beautiful country, but as you know, the pandemic changed a lot of things. But I feel privileged to be here with you in this format anyway. Can I go ahead and start, Nasiba? Yeah, okay. So just share my PowerPoint thing.
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Oops. 1 second. I'm just trying to open the chat. Sorry. I can't see the chat for some reason. Well, that's okay. Sorry, just 1 second. Before I was able to see the chat and now I can't see it. I don't know why. Do you know why? Oh, we'll try again in a minute. Okay.
Lisa, so, if you click more.
Okay.
Do you see more in the screen?
Yeah. And then I clicked chat and it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't open. Maybe I need to right click it. We can try again. Sorry. Sorry, everybody who's waiting there. Ah. Oh, no, that's just the waiting room. Okay, well, we'll see what happens in just a second when we start getting going. Okay. So today we're going to talk about warm-up activities for large classes. And some of you who have been in my workshops before will probably be familiar with some of these warm-ups. You've probably either participated in them yourself or you've heard me speak about them and share these ideas with you. For all of these webinars, I hope that you take away all of this information and all of these activities and you share it and them with your colleagues as well, so that we cover lots of different people and lots of English language professionals all over the place with new ideas and new activities. So Today in this webinar, we're going to talk first about what warm-ups are and why they are important. And then talk about some of the challenges, some of the difficulty of using warm-up activities with large groups, and especially when you have a large group and a short class time of 45 or 50 minutes. It can be challenging to find the time for a warm-up every time or every couple of classes. And then we'll look at some examples, and that's the fun part because you'll be asked to participate in a few different warm-up activities that I've prepared for you. Okay, so let's start. First of all, what is a warm-up and why should we use warm-ups in our classes? Maybe you can type your answers in the chat box. What do you think? What is a warm-up? Please just type in the chat what you think the definition of a warm-up is. Let's see here.
Lisa,
Yeah.
if you click on participants, maybe this way you will be able to see the chat box.
Let me share again. I can see it when I'm not, when I don't have the slideshow. Now I can. Okay, so there, good. So tell me, what is a warm-up? Just type your answer in the chat. Anybody know? What do you think? How would you define the term warm-up? Ah, good. Someone says it's welcoming students and creating a friendly atmosphere. It's how we motivate our students. Good. Any other ideas? What's a warm-up activity? Good. Good. A fun game to warm students up, to prepare the lesson, to prepare students for the lesson, to involve our students, to get introduce activities in a variety of ways, and to break the ice. Those are all good answers, and that's exactly right. So warm-up activities are usually short and fast-paced activities that at the beginning of a lesson. The short is a key word here because we don't want to use too much time on the warm-up because we have actual teaching to do. We have lesson objectives to meet. They can introduce a new topic or review previous vocabulary or grammar related to your objectives of that day. Some of you are saying they're a game. They can't be a game, but they're not always necessarily a game. They get students thinking and speaking or writing in English and ready to use English in the main part of the lesson. Now our students are out in the world, living their lives, doing their other classes in their first language all the time, speaking Tajik or Uzbek or Spanish or whatever. And it's hard for them to immediately switch over and start to speak English when they enter our classroom. So it's just a little transition time, right? It's a transition between L1 and L2, a time for them to make that change in their mind, to flip that switch in their heads, yeah? From Tajik to English or from Russian to English. Warm-up activities encourage teamwork because they're usually done in pairs or in small groups. And very rarely are done alone, although I'll show you one that students do kind of alone today. And importantly, they're fun and motivating, and they get our students' attention. They raise our students' a level of energy. And if you have students who tend to arrive late, if they know they're going to start the lesson with a fun, fast activity, they'll try to arrive on time to get there for that part, because that sometimes is the most exciting part of the lesson when they get 5-10 minutes to play a little bit with the language before the main lesson. Okay, so warm-ups are, again, a short and fast-paced activity, but there are challenges when we have large groups of students. And some of us have groups of students of 30 or 40 or 50 or more students at a time. And there are lots of challenges that those sizes of groups pose. First of all, setting up the classroom for small groups for an activity that's only going to take about 5 minutes can take away valuable class time, right? So if you're moving chairs and tables and then moving them back afterwards, that can take a lot of your time, and you need every moment for your lesson objectives. Also, many warm-ups involve standing up and moving around, and in classrooms that don't have a lot of space, or the classrooms that are full of students, this can create problems. They don't have space to move around, they run into each other, they make a lot of noise. And if you have 40 students, hearing back from every pair of students can take too long and can cut into valuable lesson times. So let's look at a few possible solutions to these problems. Well, one thing you can do is try to set up beforehand. That means, just put the chairs in little circles before you start, and then use that small group configuration for the activities that follow the warm-up or for the entire lesson, right? So you don't have to put them in small groups and then move them back. Put them in small groups and let them stay in those small groups for the whole lesson, yeah? And to address the problem of moving around and not enough space, you can involve your students in clearing a space for activities like board races. A board race is when students stand in a line and they have to run up and write something or tap something on the board. And if you involve them and ask them to help you move the chairs to the side quickly, and move them back at the end, then you solve that problem a bit. You can anticipate what's going to happen. Think about beforehand the kinds of classroom management issues that could arise, like noise, and try to develop some kind of system for handling that. For example, a clue or a cue or a signal, like flicking the lights if it starts to get too loud, or holding up a hand, or just clapping once. So some kind of signal that everybody knows we need to calm down a little bit, be a little quieter, and bring it back down to a normal level of noise. And you can also just use warm-ups that don't require your students to move around a lot. And I'll show you a few of those today. Yeah, they can just work with the person who's sitting next to them, or you can move them around a little bit, but they don't need to be with a special person. It's only 5 or 10 minute activities, so you don't need to think too much about grouping. Okay, so one problem with big groups is that you can't hear back from everyone. Well, you can use competition, so you only hear back from 2 or 3 of the winners, right? So you don't have to hear back from 20 pairs of students who each want to tell their answer. You only hear back from the winners. You can also use random call-on strategies, so you hear from different pairs every time. For example, I use these little sticks like this, and with these sticks you have 2 sort of containers, and you draw out a stick and read the name, Adila Frus, and then Dila Frus answers, and you put that stick and then in container number 2, and then you won't call on Dila Frus again until everyone in container number 1 has been called on. This way, everyone knows that they'll get a chance to answer at some point. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but their time is coming and everyone gets a chance to answer and to share. Yeah. So these are just a few ideas for large groups, and we will see as we go along that some of the activities I share with you today take large groups into consideration. So let's look at a few examples of warm-up activities. And we'll play a few of them too, so you'll have a chance to see how they work. Okay, this one is probably one that most of you are familiar with. Either you're familiar with this exact game, or you're familiar with a variation of it, and it's called Name 10. This is a vocabulary review game. And remember, you want to connect vocabulary review games, the vocabulary set you're using, with your lesson of that day, right? So if you're going to be doing a dialogue in a restaurant, you want to do a vocabulary review of food, for example, but not of, different types of clothing, because that doesn't make sense. So it has to match and have a purpose. Even though everything in your lesson should have a purpose and a reason for being there. Okay, so let's see, how does Name 10 work? You put your students together with their partner, and it doesn't have to be special. You don't have to put a higher level with a lower level, or two students who have the same level together. It can just be whoever's sitting next to them. Yeah, it can be the partner. And you write a category on the board, and the pairs have to write 10 words in that category. For example, fruit, vegetables, meat, traditional Tajik dishes, whatever your category is. And again, that should match a little bit with what you're doing that day in that lesson. And the first pair to finish can either just say stop or raise their hand and then get 1 point for every correct word, or rush to the board and write the 10 words. And then this way you could give an extra point for correct spelling. You can do this several times in a row or just once. It depends on how much time you want to spend, right? You can play it once or twice or 3 times. I probably wouldn't play it more than 3 times, but I like this game because it's super fast. It literally takes less than 5 minutes, and it gets your students thinking and collaborating and remembering vocabulary that they're going to need in the lesson coming up. So let's try it. Let's try it together. So I'm going to give you a category. And you should write 10 words in that category on a piece of paper. I forgot to tell you at the beginning, you should probably have a piece of paper with you. So I'll give you a category. You write 10 words in that category on a piece of paper. And when you've written all of your words, write stop in the chat box, and then we'll check them together. Okay? Everyone got it? So I'm going to give you a category, write 10 words down, quick, 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 as fast as you can. And then when you're ready, write stop in the chat box and we'll check. Okay, here we go. The first category, these aren't easy. I made them hard because I know your English is very good. The first one is you have to name 10 animals you might see on a farm. So quick, 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 write them down. And when you're finished, write stop in the chat box and I'll stop everybody. 10 animals you might see on a farm. Quick, quick. Okay, we have a winner. Okay, Zulfikar, type your words into the chat. What are your words? Type them into the chat. Zulfikar Jumaev. Let's see what he writes. Are you typing, Zulfikar? Yes. So we can see what your words are. Uh-oh. Ah, yes, good. Okay, horse, cow, sheep, horse, cow, sheep, goat, hen, dog, cat, donkey, ox, lamb, ox, probably, duck. Oh, ox, lamb, duck. Yeah, good. Zulfikar, you're the winner. Yay, you get our permanent admiration. I don't have a prize for you, but you did very well. Okay, so let's do one more. And this one's more difficult. And if it takes too long, I'm just going to stop you because I thought it might be difficult for a native speaker of English. Let's see if you can do it. It's better always, of course, if you have a partner with you that you can collaborate with and who can help you think. Let's see if we can name 10 American presidents. Okay, go. Quick, quick, quick. 10 American presidents. I'm going to try too. If I can't do it, then you can't either. You have to go in order. You probably remember a lot of them. 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got it? Okay, I'm going to write stop because I think this is hard for you probably. I have 10. Mine are Obama, Biden, Clinton, Alec, Kennedy, their Firdaus has a lot, Washington, Trump, George Bush and George Bush Sr., Roosevelt, Kennedy, Ford, Lincoln I have as well. You got 8. Zulfikar had 8. Now that's pretty good, right? Okay, so now you would use animals you might see on a farm. You do Akudrat, you had 9. Nice, good one. Animals you might see on a farm, you'd use this form up if you are going to read a text that takes place in a farm, or you are going to talk about a farm in some way, look at a picture of a farm, some way connected to your lesson that day. And American presidents, maybe that would be the warm-up for if you're going to talk about 4th of July or some or about American democracy or American government. Those would be connected to your lesson that way. All right, good job, everyone. Now let's see another one. This one we can't really do because we're not in person, but this is a good warm-up for a large group where it's actually a physical warm-up where your students raise their physical energy as well as their mental energy, and it's a listening activity. Now, usually in large classrooms, moving around is not an option because of the space issues, but this one, students sit and stand at their own desk and answer a series of questions. So here's the procedure. You tell everyone to stand up, everyone on their feet, and then tell them you're going to read out some sentences. And if the sentence is true for them, then they should sit down and remind them to be honest, because they don't want people to tell a lie. So for example, sit down if you walk to school, or sit down if you have 2 sisters, or sit down if you have a yellow pencil with you, or sit down if your name begins with M. And then the last person standing is a winner. So again, this is a sort of a physical activity. You can also reverse it and start saying, okay, stand up if, and then sit down if, and then people are moving back and forth. You can modify this game to fit in with whatever you're doing. And that's the beauty of it. So if you're talking about can and can't for ability, sit down if you cannot swim, or stand up if you can speak Russian, or if you're practicing adverbs of frequency, sit down if you never eat breakfast, or stand up if you always help your mother with the dishes. All these different ways to modify to fit in with your lesson objectives. Another beautiful thing about this game is that you can make it as short or as long as you want, right? Because you are controlling who stands up and who sits down. So you can say something that's going to make most people sit down. Yes, sit down if you did your homework yesterday. Most of them will sit down, and just a few will remain standing. And then you've finished the game quite quickly. Yeah. So this is a good one for, again, for raising student energy, but also practicing listening. And it's a great way to introduce and expose your students to the language that you're going to teach them in that lesson. Yeah, before you teach it, then they get a little exposure before they even learn what it is. Or it can be a review of something you've done in the past. Okay, so let's look at another one. And now this one probably you're also familiar with. Odd One Out is a game that people use for lots of different reasons, and lots of different modifications and adaptations. It's often used for pronunciation, where you have 3 words that are the same and 1 word that has a different, for example, different vowel sound. But the one we're going to look at is one that promotes critical thinking and creative thinking a little bit. And here's how it works. So they work in pairs or small groups of 3 or 4. And again, because it's a warm-up, you don't need to think too much about who am I going to pair with who. Yeah, whoever's around them is fine. Yeah. This is, if you spend too much time making groups and setting it up, then it stops becoming a warm-up and it starts becoming part of your lesson, right? The warm-up has to be fast. So pairs or small groups. And then you write a list of a series of 4 vocabulary words on the board, and 3 of the words should be related, and 1 of the words is somehow slightly unrelated. Oops. For example, hat, coat, sandals, gloves. Gloves, socks, shoes, sandals. Scarf, glasses, hat, mask. Shorts, pajamas, swimsuit, suit. T-shirt, jacket, sweater, sweatshirt. So your students then now have to talk to each other and write which one of these words is different, and the important thing, why, right? And it's interesting what students will think, and you see how people's minds work a little bit. For example, they might write, well, in this first one, sandals is different because you wear sandals in summer and the other things you wear in winter. And in number 2, gloves is different because you wear them on your hands, but these other things you wear on your feet. Yeah, so they have to try to think, well, why is it different? And you can make this as easy or as difficult as you want, depending on the vocabulary series and sets that you do. Want to try it? Let's give it a try. So you have to, I'm going to give you the first team to finish with reasonable answers. Yeah, because sometimes the answers are just crazy and they don't make sense. But if a reasonable answer, any reasonable answer is acceptable. And sometimes they're really creative possibilities. Yeah, sometimes they come up with things that you never would have thought of, right? Okay, so let's try this one together. So I'll give you a set of 5 sets of 4 words each. And we have to do this kind of quickly because we don't have a lot of time. And one of the words in each set is different from the others in some way. Yeah. when you know which ones are different for all 5 sets of words, and importantly, why they're different, type stop in the chat box. Okay? You have a piece of paper, you ready? Here we go. We'll talk about your answers at the end and see if anyone had a different solution. Here you go. Which one is different in each set and why? When you're finished, type stop in the chat. Stop already. For all 5, you have finished all 5 of them? Just type stop if you finish all 5. Nasiba, have you finished all 5? Okay, let's hear from Nasiba. Nasiba says, in the first one, okay, Zulfikar also says stop. Let's argue this out. So in the first one, Nasiba said that chicken is different. Do you agree? Why do you think chicken is different, Nasiba?
To be honest, like sheep, cow, wolf, they are animals, but chicken is a bird. So
Okay.
it's a domestic, yeah, domestic pet. It's actually, yeah.
All right, good. That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking that wolf is different because these are domesticated animals and a wolf is wild. You see? So you have more than one answer. But chicken is true. A chicken's a bird and the other ones are not birds. Okay. And number 2, also chicken. Why you think, what do the rest of you think for number 2? Chicken also?
Yeah, just to say, chicken cannot fly. Duck, swan, goose, they can fly.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, I also thought of a different one for this one. I wasn't thinking chicken. I was thinking swan. Because we eat duck, we eat chicken, we eat goose, but we don't eat swans. But yours is probably a better.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is dog. Someone said dog is different here. Why dog?
So because like cow, sheep, goat, they are chewing animals, and dog is not.
They're ruminants, right? They're ruminants. They're animals that they're farm animals, and dog is not one. Good. I think that was my answer. And dog, somebody else said we can eat the meat of these other animals, but we don't eat dog. Yeah, very good. Oops. Okay, number 4, which one? Which one did you put?
Okay, number 4 is parakeet, like because dog, cat, wolf, again, just animals, and parakeet is not.
Okay, yeah, I had a different idea for this one too, because dog, cat, and parakeet are pets, and the wolf is not a pet. Yeah. You see how people have different ways of thinking about things. Okay, what about the last one? Lion, cat, tiger, wolf.
So again, lion, cat, and tiger, they kind of belong to cat family, and wolf is not.
Okay, good. Is there another possible solution to this one, do you think? Anybody? Well, cats are pets, right? So yeah, exactly. Good. Noorali said cat is a different solution for your dog's cat. A cat is a pet, and a lion and a tiger and a wolf are not pets, right? So this is a way for your students to be this very fast warm up, and here we're obviously talking about animals, but your students can think creatively and they collaborate and they can have a little conversation about why one of these is different. So this is a really fun um, a warm up, and it's quite fast. Yeah, it's 5 minutes, no more. Yeah. Although sometimes people get in discussions about no, it should be cat. Wolf is better, but you can stop that, of course, whenever you want. All right, good. All right, so let's look at one more, and this one is called Many from One. Some of you probably have seen this one before. And this is can be for any level of group, and it's usually used to introduce a new topic that you're going to be talking about that day, right? So maybe whatever it is, democracy or world travel or whatever. It's a good way to do that. It's not particularly a vocabulary set related, but it's, as I say, to introduce a new topic that you're going to start working on. So students, again, they work in pairs or small groups. Again, just the person next to them is fine. And you write a long word on the board that's related to the topic of that day's lesson. For example, transportation. Yeah. And your students work together to find as many words as they can from the letters that make up that word. For example, in transportation, we have the word train, T-R-A-I-N. We have port. We have in, I-N, at. Type a few more examples into the chat box. What other words do you see in this word? Sport. At. Anything else? In. Trans. Station. A very good one, Nurali. Station. Anything else? Nation. Excellent. Yeah, good. Tojanisu and Zulfikar had that at the same time. Port. I think, is potato there? P-O-T-A-T. Potato is there as well, right? So your students, depending on rain. Good. I've never seen that one before. That's good. So your students can work together and they can think of a long list. Now you can give them a time. Yeah, how you can set the time for 1 minute. Azra sees onion there. Good. And sun from Zulfikar. Good one. So you can set the time for 1 minute and then the game goes really fast. You can do it once and you'll literally be finished in 2 to 3 minutes. They have 1 minute to think and then 1 minute to check over their words, and then that's it. You move on with your lesson. But it's fast and it gets them, again, just changes their chip from thinking in Tajik and working in Russian or Uzbek to now we're in English class and we're thinking in English. Airport, who saw that? Nasiba saw the word airport there. That's pretty amazing. Okay, you guys are good. I'm gonna try it together. All right, so here, I'm gonna put a word, and how about I'll give you a time limit. I'll give you 1 minute, and you try to write into write, I guess, make a list on a piece of paper and then tell me afterwards how many you have. Yeah, that's better because otherwise I'll get lost with so many chats. So write your list of words on a paper and then afterwards tell me how many you have after 1 minute. You ready? Go. Make as many words as you can with this word. You can put any word, any kind of word, verb, noun, adjective, preposition, but it has to be the letters from this word. And you should write them on a paper first. Yeah. Oh, I forgot it was keeping time. Okay, stop. How many different words did you find? All right, now Zira, you have passion, Persia, lion, noise, rope, season, session. Good. Ezra, Zulfikar found 8 different words. Lesson was in there. Oh, yeah, good, good. So Zulfikar, what are some different words that you found that haven't been mentioned yet? Season is there? Ah, yes. Season is there. You're right. Good. Anything else? Lion, nail, poison, sun, life, one, prose, soap, sore, prone. Excellent. Oh, you're so smart. Near, train. Good. Okay, let's do one more. We'll do the last one. Ready? Okay, so write your words from this word. Train, yeah, not train. There's no T. Somebody wrote train. A profession, good. Okay, let's go. One more, last one. You ready? So write down your words on a piece of paper and I'll give you 1 minute to make as many words as possible. Ready? Here we go. One more, you have about 30 more seconds. Make a list. Okay, stop. Let's see, how many words do you have? I see some here. Develop, envelop, envelope would have an E on the end. Did it have enough? No, because there's only 2 E's. Meet, mental, lope, pole, velo. Velo, I don't know. That's a little bit strange one, maybe for bicycle. Mop, men, develop, mole, elope. Good one, Donna. Pet, demo, deep, tone, mode, temple, tojiniso. That's a good one. Temple, yeah, temple's there. You're right. Uh-huh. Good, good. Tent. Excellent. All right, good. So even if your students only know a little bit of English, they can still find words in these words, right? They can find little prepositions like at and an and the. Yeah, they can find little words. Or if their English is a little bit more advanced, they can find big long words like you all did, like envelope and develop and professor and all of station and all of the ones that wonderful ones that you found. All right. So let's just sum up, everyone, about what we talked about today. So warm-ups, again, are these little fast-paced activities that raise your students' level of energy, and it allows them to transition from speaking and using their first language to speaking and using English. And it provides them a little bit of a push, a little motivation to learn and to arrive on time, right? Because if they know there's going to be a game, they'll be there on time. Some types of warm-ups can be difficult to use with large classes, especially if they involve a lot of moving around. But you can plan seating strategies so your students remain in the same place for the following parts of the lesson, or just have them work with whoever is sitting next to them. You don't have to think too much about how you're going to seat your students or how you're going to pair them for the warm-up. Yeah. You also can use warm-ups like the stand up and sit down game where they're just standing in their own place and they don't have to they don't have to move around, but they still are physically moving. And when the warm-up has a vocabulary or a grammar focus, you need to make sure that there's a clear link between that specific grammar or specific vocabulary and the rest of your lesson, right? So you don't talk about types of transportation and then do a role play about at a restaurant, right? So there should be some kind of clear link whenever possible. And sometimes you just do a warm-up for fun, and there is no overarching topic, and that's okay too. Just a really fast, really quick little game at the beginning to get everybody's attention focused and everybody in good high spirits. Okay, so that's all I've got for you today. I thank you very much for listening and participating so much. Let's hear some ideas and thoughts and questions. I see Nasiba says, let's see, what kind of warm-up activities are good for beginner level students? That's from Nasiba. Well, I think you can, if they can write, you can adjust a lot of these to work with lower level students, even the one we just did, where if they only know a few little words, they can find those words in those longer words. Yeah, they can find the few letters that they know, and the, to, it, I. Yeah, that's one fast one that they know. Also, that's fine for lower levels. Also, things like hey man is great for lower levels when they're just practicing the alphabet, they're just learning the alphabet. There are ways you can practice with the alphabet. I know a lot of warm-up games that practice the alphabet, and those are great for lower level classes as well, where they're just practicing saying those letters and spelling things aloud and listening to letters. I can't tell you all of them now, we don't have time, but there are a lot. Okay, let me see another question. Okay, so Azra asked about how can you apply these activities in large mixed ability adult online classes? Are lots of different adjectives there to describe your classes. Online, well, fortunately, the one thing that has come out of this terrible pandemic has been this fast development of lots of online games for learning English and lots of online applications that you can use to create little fast games to do online things. I don't know if you've heard of Flippity. I'm going to type that into the chat. But Flippity is a website where you can customize games, longer games and shorter games to use online. And because you write the content, you can use it for whatever level student you have, whatever age group you have, or anything you want. And remember, adults like playing games too. If you enjoyed it, probably your students will enjoy it. There's no rule that says adults can't play a fun game in the beginning of their class. Okay, anything else there? Palindrome, yeah, good. That's a great one. All right, anything else? You guys want to share an idea? Maybe you have ideas for your warm-ups that you like to use with your students. Say if your warm-up is connected to your topic and it takes longer than you expected because students get really interested in it, would you still stop them? That's a good question, Tojanisu, and it's a question it's a problem that happens. It's not a problem really because your students are engaged and they are practicing English. But if you are like most teachers, you do have a curriculum you have to follow, and you have a syllabus and you have objectives for that day that you have to get to. And it depends on how much time you have, but sometimes you just have to say, well, I know, I love that you love this game, guys, but we're going to have to stop now and move on to something else. Maybe we'll do this again next week. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it depends on what you've got to do that day. Okay. Anything else? Nasiba, do you want to take over again? Shall I stop sharing?
Nurali had a question if there is a difference between warm-up and icebreakers.
Okay, good. Yeah, and to me there is, and you know, I'm not really sure, but in my mind, an icebreaker is when you're getting to know somebody who you don't know, when you're with a group of people who don't know each other, and it's a way to sort of get them to know each other and to meet each other and feel more comfortable with each other. Whereas a warm-up is directly related to an upcoming lesson. So we do icebreakers in meetings, for example, or at conferences, when you don't know the people around you and you feel shy. It's a nice way to sort of get to know people. Yeah, that's my own Lisa Mann explanation. I don't know if there is a really official difference that maybe I don't know. Yeah, it's Tojaniso. Yeah, icebreakers on the first day. Yeah, that's right. Anything else? I think that might be it. Is there anything from Facebook that we want to answer? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for participating. You did a really nice job here. You have proven that these icebreakers are fun and that they work, and these warm-ups are fun activities. And I hope you use them with your lessons and with your students and that they enjoy them.
We have got another question. How much time a warm-up activity can last?
It depends again, it depends on how much time you have, but I usually make them really fast. And the ones I showed you today can all be done in about 5 minutes because you have lesson objectives that you have to meet. You have to move on with the rest of your class. So I do them like 5 minutes and then I stop them. Even if, as someone said, even if they're really enjoying it, we have to stop because we have things that we have to do in class in the lesson. Yeah.
Yes, just wonderful tips you shared, wonderful exercises. I enjoyed myself, and I believe that, you know, all the participants enjoyed those warm-ups. A bunch of thank you to Lisa for sharing your insights and for sharing your tips as well as exercises and warm-up activities. I'm sure that participants got plenty of ideas how to incorporate them into their teaching and how to make learning and teaching fun. So thank you again. So dear participants, so thank you for your active participation. Please take your time, do register on our website, www.ewb.pg, because we are going to post our announcements about the webinars on our website as well on social media, because we are also going to have another webinar with Lisa. Please do not miss this opportunity. And thanks again, Lisa, for a wonderful presentation and webinar. And using this moment, I would like to thank you, everybody, and say Happy Nowruz to everybody.
Yes, Happy Nowruz to everybody. Yes, I forgot that that's right now, isn't it? Happy Nowruz. And have a good break. If you're a teacher, have a good break from school for a few days.